Hi. Welcome back to my lovely little cute amazing channel that you literally love. As you saw from the title, we're gonna be talking about my component 1 today, and the topic that I chose, how I did it, literally everything about it. So if you haven't watched my first video talking about all the assessment objectives and how component 1 and component 2 work, you should, because if you watch that, this video will make a bit more sense to you and it will just be easier. So as you know, component 1 is worth 50% of your IGCSE final mark, which is 200. Component 1 is 100 marks. Component 1 also consists of a portfolio of your work, which is around 8 preps, and a final outcome. That's your component 1. We're gonna see the preps that I put my heart and soul into, the preps that might have contributed to my downfall a bit. These preps are just like a lot, okay? A lot of work, a lot of hard work of mine, and I think they're good. My teacher expects a grade A or A star for my work, so keep that in mind. I just finished my exam a couple of days ago. It went really well, and I'm done with art and design for now until A-levels. Yeah. So my topic was convex and concave. I approached it in a really weird way, but it was very personal to me, which is really good for your component, for all of your work. If you approach it personally, it helps. So without any further ado, let's get started with the preps. So I'm gonna be looking at my iPad while explaining my preps to you. So yeah, just keep that in mind. So here is my prep 1. It is prep 1 over there, convex and concave beside it. You can see how I've just done a bunch of pieces. I'm recording and I'm exploring different mediums. So in my prep 1, which is a very important part of it, is the introduction. It's where I tell the examiners why I chose the topic, what my idea is, and I will state down my intentions. So if you look closer, I'll zoom in. I'll read it for you. For component 1, I chose the topic convex and concave because I wanted to tell a story. My story. I viewed the topic convex and concave in a very different perspective. I saw it as extroverted and introverted. So for convex, it's extroverted, and for concave, it's introverted. So as in outgoing or reserved and shy. So as I progress from prep 1 to 8, I'm going to illustrate traits and features of both personality types. The introverted section will have a negative meaning here, whereas the extroverted section is positive. I'll be starting with the introverted section to show earlier years of my memorable life, because I used to be introverted, like very introverted, so I'm going to be showcasing it in my prep 1 and around prep 1, 2, 3, and 4. So to show like a progression, like I'm moving forward, I'm telling a story. So I'll be starting with the introverted to showcase earlier years of my memorable life, and towards the end I'll be moving on closer to modern day, where I'm much more outgoing or convex / extroverted. I'll try my best to show you my personality through my art. And yes, this is really important. Please let yourself shine through your art. Let your personality show. Don't be shy. Throughout this component, I wish to observe, experiment, and experiment with different mediums, techniques, and study different art styles. So, as you can see, I sort of explained what my idea is, and then I stated down my intentions for the preps, for prep 1 to 8, what I'm going to be doing throughout them. So I'll explain prep 1 to you right now. I just did a bunch of pieces where I show sort of a negative emotion in them. The piece on the lower left, it's like me under a blanket on my phone to show a sort of closed off person, shy, etc., etc. Then on the right, it's more pieces with more meanings. I don't want to get into much detail. In this piece, in this prep, I focused on recording ideas and trying to explore as many different mediums as I can. Here I explored charcoal, fine liners, and graphite, and that's it. So for prep 2, it is a pretty similar idea. I just continued recording and exploring. As you can see up there somewhere, beside prep 2, it says recording and exploring. I just did a bunch of pieces with a negative emotion or meaning to show the introverted section or concave section. You can see a crying eye, a dead rose, figures in a very weird position. You can tell it's negative. And then there's pen with a person crying as if they're like a tissue here and they're crying. And the bananas, I don't know why I put them there. I just did. I just like took pictures of freaking bananas, peeling them, and I just put it there. So we leave that there. I don't know why, but I wish I could have done something different, but I just put them there. So as you can see, I also explored as much mediums as I can. I explored graphite, charcoal, white charcoal. I also used a tan paper. Trying different papers is really helpful. I used pen, and yeah, that's pretty much it for prep 2. Now we're sort of reaching the end of the concave section or the introverted section. I'm gonna start developing my idea towards what I want my concave part of the final outcome to look like. So here is prep 3. You can see how it's not very simple. Like it's a very complicated composition. It's very imaginative. It has lots of design in it. On the left is going to be a part of my final outcome, which you can see that I stated it down. I started to think about my final outcome and its concave side. On the right is a piece which is also, you can see a part of the piece on the left. It's supposed to represent trauma. Yeah. And in the middle is just me exploring some techniques, which you'll understand why later. And that's pretty much it for prep 3. I started developing my idea towards the concave section. Here I didn't do much mediums. I just did acrylic and ink on the lower right corner with the 2 figures. That's pretty much it for prep 3. So in prep 4, I started started shifting towards the convex side, the extroverted side. I started adding more colors, a lot more colors. And as you can see, I'm still exploring lots of different mediums. I explored watercolor, colored pencil, acrylics, and some techniques. Like on the piece on the top right, if you look closely, there's a bunch of like dabbing colors, like dots of colors around in the background of the piece. And yeah, you should keep that piece in mind, the top right one. It has a very important meaning. I explored this like sort of shifting technique. I don't know how to call it, this effect of 2 figures being pulled apart and they're like stuck together. This is going to be an important part of my final outcome. So I started exploring that earlier on. For prep 5, I started going much more deeper into the convex section, the extroverted section. Prep 5, it has a lot of flowers because I wanted to have this idea of where like my personality is blooming, you know, like blooming, coming to life. So I added a bunch of flowers, a lot of flowers. So on the right, you can see me exploring flowers themselves, the rows, and I put them in composition, etc., etc. I did a bunch of different mediums. For the eye, I did colored pencil and soft pastel. For the lower right piece, the three flowers together, I did oil. That was actually my first ever oil painting. In the center, I did acrylics. And if you look closely, I did a sort of texture in the background. I don't know why, but I decided I want to do so I did. Because why not? Why not? It was inspired by an artist called Eva Gamayun, a surrealist artist. And on the left, I sort of combined everything together and made a piece to represent the blooming of my personality. And that was pretty much it for my Prep 5. I explored a bunch of mediums, and I developed my idea towards my convex side of the final outcome. For my Prep 6, it didn't really have that big of a meaning or a theme to it. I was just like sort of exploring my convex side of the final outcome or extroverted side of the final outcome. You can see that there's a mixed media piece on the lower right. I explored a bunch of techniques, like on the top right, there's these flowers. They're 3D. They look much better in real life. They look really bad from here. And beside it, the rose, I did like stippling and colored pencil. I combined them both. And the piece below that, I did gouache. And then the piece on the left, I did ink and acrylic. So here I wanted to sort of try and combine both personalities together by showing the black and white and the colored. So, you know, concave, convex, introverted, extroverted, etc., etc. So I wanted to explore that effect because I might use it in my final outcome. If I don't, it's okay. I just explored something, and that's, you know, contributing to my preps. So in this prep 6, I just explored and developed my idea. It was not that big of a deal. So Prep 7, this is where shit gets real, okay? So this is sort of my last prep on my convex side. I mixed everything together and I came up with the piece on the left, which is the convex or the extroverted side of my final outcome. You can see the flowers, you can see the eye. There's also a bird and a butterfly. Why not? The rainbow, because rainbow. And on the top right is also going to be a part of my final outcome. I just didn't include it except in my actual final outcome to show sort of development. On the lower right, you can see that it's also a part of the piece on the left. It's like gonna go in the final outcome is gonna be connected. It's all gonna be connected. And in the center, there's this flower piece. I think it's a liner cut, and that was my first ever liner cut, and it low-key sucked, but why not include it? So I included it. And if you can see, in all of my preps, I used up all of the space, and under each piece you can see like a lift here tab. I'll try to zoom in for you. A lift here tab. If you lift it under the painting, there will be the annotation, the photos, anything related to the piece. So I wanted to use as much space of my preps as I can. My Prep 8. So this is sort of where I showcased my potential ideas for my final outcome. The idea on the right, I did not like it very much. It looked a bit tacky, and the background where I did this sort of texture, it was just annoying. So the piece on the left was actually the winner. I liked it very much. The composition was really pretty. And for Prep 8, you can see I put the title Convex and Concave, and I just presented my ideas. And finally, the Holy Grail, my final outcome. 8 preps leading to that. So I think I like it. I like it. No, I do like it. I worked really hard for it. And keep in mind that I did this final outcome at home. It's not an exam or anything. I did it at home with whatever medium I wanted, which was oil color, by the way, oil paint. Sorry. And it was oil paint. I just put everything together. The shifting effect, the one that I said you should pay attention to, is a really big part. And the rainbow, the butterfly, everything just came together perfectly as I imagined it. And that was it for my final outcome. I did it at home. It took me a lot of time, because I wanted to make sure everything is perfect. Like, it had to be the best of the best. And it was. So that is it for my final outcome. Yeah. So as you saw, throughout my preps, I tried my best to ensure that I implement all the assessment objectives, assessment objective 1 to 4, and they're all there. Hopefully I get a good mark in each of them. And that was it for my component 1. So a bit of advice from me. If you look at the assessment objective number 4, let me look for it. Okay, here. Assessment objective number 4, presenting. Over there it says, present a personal and coherent response that realizes intentions and demonstrates an understanding of visual language. Let me focus on one part of it. Present a personal and coherent response. Try to approach the topic you have very personally. Try to make it seem like it's important to you, like it somehow relates to you. That will tell the examiners that you really put your heart into the preps. That is what I did as you can probably tell, that's what I did in component 1. I showcased my personality, my introverted side, and how I went from introverted to extroverted. That's why you should try to make it as personal as possible. So that was it for my component 1. I think I slayed. I hope my grade will slay as well. I'll definitely be showing you guys my grade the second it comes out. And yeah, if you have any questions about art and design, if you have any questions about component 1, anything, please message me, comment on this video if you want to, DM me on Instagram. I'll answer, I promise. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.